Thabiso, it's amazing the amount of rapid talent that's out there in this country. And you only have to go to the schools over weekends across the provinces to see how strong schoolboy rugby is and how strong actually the game is, the sport is in the country. I went to Pretoria Boys High. They had it's a once-off festival. They're 125 years old. The biggest result there was Michael House beating Afis. That was massive.
Maritzburg schools rock as usual.
No, let's give it to Michael House. Michael House have had having a good start to their season.
Yeah, good research.
They beat Northwood.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, their coach is quite a good guy there.
Look, Michael House.
But Red Wine has been down in the dumps.
Look, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to sound as if I'm being, because I'm a Maritzburg boy.
Yeah.
But KZN generally has had, good, channel of good players. Whether it's Maritzburg College, whether it's
Westville.
Westville, Hilton
are doing the things, Chief.
Yeah.
Westville are doing the things.
Kesney's.
I think Hilton's doing the. Let's not talk about Kesney.
But I'm just saying, in terms of the pipeline.
Those hunt dogs there in Potazilla, aye.
The pipeline's good though.
No, extremely good. Extremely good. I think even the Sharks now are going to start limiting the amount of poaching, or not poaching, how many offers they're giving to players in the Eastern Cape. But another big problem is the fact that those schools are hunting big time in the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
And I think it's an issue that has to be addressed. But besides that, Thabiso, watching, who would have ever thought Grey College would lose twice in 1 week?
And they're the pinnacle of South African schoolboy rugby.
And
for years.
But it shows you how tight things are.
Yeah.
St. John's Festival, I heard only good things about them. I think Bishops lost to Graham. That's a big result. That
is it a question of? You're mentioning that these franchises, schools as well, are poaching. I remember back in our days, you used to have players called stayers. You wanted your to stay an extra year
post matric.
And but it goes competitiveness of the game. 1, 2, it goes to reaping those rewards now as we are as a Springbok at Springbok level.
Listen, Thabiso, I think one of the things we had spoken about at the Pretoria Boys High Festival, speaking to a Paul Anthony and Robbie Kempson and Zwaki Nkosi.
And the big boys came to watch.
Yeah,
because that's where it started.
And they all said one thing, how professional the game has become at schoolboy level. But they also warned about the pitfalls of professionalizing schoolboy rugby. Because the guys still need to enjoy the game. And that's why you see so many of the alumni come out. Because that is probably the purest form of the game at school level, where there's still a lot of enjoyment in it. Before...
As a parent watching my boy play, there's no enjoyment if they're losing.
And I also had the privilege of watching my nephew play at Parktown Boys High. Playing hockey.
Yeah.
At Cares, playing for Parktown Boys High. And they were down 2-0 against Kearney, and it was quite sad because my best friend is a Kearney old boy, and I know he was going to be here, especially towards my cousin, But again, the fun is still there.
Yeah.
The fun factor is still there. So well done to Pretoria Boys High. Well done to Kes. Because well done to St. John's. Well done to St. Stithians. They've got a proper sports festival there. It's not just rugby and hockey. It's squash, it's tennis, it's football. It's
those schools come up by train, bus, and everything to make sure.
And they've got schools from I think Wales. I know that there was NACG or something like that at St. John's, a school from Australia. So again, these festivals and I'm glad for the Mali 15. A project driven by Lincoln Mali in memory of his father. And again, it brings together so many of these youngsters from impoverished areas, especially in the Eastern Cape and especially around the Gqeberha area.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad the likes of Standard Bank have really come to the party when it comes to that, because development is key.
Yeah.
It's key when it comes to these things and giving opportunities. Because again, these festivals are still for your elite schools.
I was just about to ask the question.
Your private schools and your
elite?
former model C schools. It's them. And we've got to admit, Thabiso, I mean, as much as we come from those schools, and we're the beneficiaries of those schools, and when we go to these festivals, we support our schools, but we must also remember that there are so many more that are on the outside that need to be brought in. So kudos to Standard Bank for that. I hope they're listening.
Yeah.
Bonga special.
Speaking about
Yolisa Koza, I hope you guys are watching the pod.
They're spending the money on Bafana for now. Speaking about
which is the pod as well.
Yeah.
And we speak about their festivals, all the Easter festivals. There was the Kersney festival as well. Well done to Kersney.
Yeah.
That festival is also growing in leaps and bounds. I also must say, Thabiso, well done to the various schools, because Parktown Boys High had the under 14 festival there. JP Boys High had the under 16 festival. AFIS hosted the under 15 rugby festivals. I think it was St. Mary's, where they hosted the hockey festival.
Yeah.
It's all happening, Thabiso. And yes, the majority of it is happening up here in Gauteng, but we need to be grateful that our kids are playing sport, first of all, and are constantly playing at a very, very high level. And they're pushing each other, and we are seeing, I think, the results of that. Say whatever you want to say. Hockey is a big sport in South African schools.
Sport in South African schools.
And I'm glad that the schools have invested so much in the Astros.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it, because we're seeing it at senior level, because varsity hockey is big.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
In fact, you see it in both, like you were saying, you see it by the number of our local players internationally.
Yeah.
Even though our national league is not proper up
we're still doing IPTs.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, I'm surprised that we don't have a professional hockey league for men and women. We should be having that, because you see that our senior national teams punch way above their waist when it comes to playing the likes of Pakistan, India,
and the only
Australia, New Zealand, England.
And the only difference would be when you're seeing the results is probably camps, if they've been together for longer,
And we had our own professional league.
Yeah.
I think things would really, really change. So I'm really urging the sponsors.
One thing that netball has done very well, I mean, you've seen a lot of our netball ladies post 2023, the Netball World Cup, the legacy left behind.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of them being poached abroad.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you're actually seeing the level of netball domestically. It is extremely competitive.
Whether it's under 8 level, under 9 level.
So we're seeing athletics.
Yeah.
Who was this young man, Aiden Andrews?
Yeah, man, breaking records. The past couple of days have been. But listen,
let's not. You're not gonna go. Yeah, I know when once you start talking.
Yeah, because
but it shows how healthy our sport is in this country, and what is important, Thabiso, is that we need to get administration right. If we don't get administration right, rugby has shown what you can do.
Cricket as well.
Cricket has shown what you can do.
South African football, the players have shown, but not the administration.
Exactly. And I want to almost beg athletics. If there's any federation that I want to be successful in terms of governance, is Athletics South Africa. Because the wealth and depth of talent in this country, when it comes to that sport, is on another level.
And this is pure, unadulterated, clean, non-genetic, just South African DNA athletes who are coming in and showing up, putting their hands up on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And let's move on to this particular topic whilst we're there. Parliament on the 31st of March once again asked them to be put under administration, dissolved. They have not implemented the James Molloy suspended president's report. And this will be the third time that Athletics South Africa will be put under administration. Speaking to the point that you're saying, administratively, it is a shocker in as far as that federation is concerned. In fact, the chairperson that held the DC for both James Molloy and the 5 suspended people from Central Gauteng has actually opened a case against Athletics South Africa for not implementing the very report that came out.
And I'm wearing black for a reason.
Zilile.
I'm not wearing it for some other team that's pretending.
Number 5.
I'm mourning. I'm mourning almost the death of governance in South African sport. In particular, Athletics South Africa. You've got a report against your president, damning allegations.
In essential against the executive, because
yes, because you're part and parcel of it when you allow such things to happen. SASCOC has been extremely hard on Athletics South Africa, and you do nothing about it. And yet you expect the athletes going to the World Walk Championships to do well there. You've got the World Relays in Gaborone on our doorstep. They should have been here in South Africa. We're winning medals at World Relays like it's, it's breathing. And you expect those guys to go and medal there. We've got the Commonwealth Games coming up. You're going to expect them to do well there. You've got then the Diamond League. You expect your athletes to go and perform at the Diamond League and represent the country well.
The indictment, actually.
How?
Just recently, the indictment on how bad things are, the South African National Schools Championships, was just cancelled.
Well,
it's supposed to have started on Wednesday.
Thabiso, and athletics is one of our biggest mass participation sports at school level.
Yeah.
That is one of the greatest equalizers. That is where you unearth some of this country's best talent. Whether they're coming from rural South Africa, from the townships, from suburbia, from privileged or underprivileged schools, that is the greatest equalizer when they meet at the youth championships.
Yeah, a sub 10 doesn't ask you which school you went to.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And whether you're barefoot or not, it doesn't matter, Baba. Because we're seeing some, every year we see some, that's a sad indictment on the lack of governance and poor governance. And I'm sorry, Thabiso, this is, I don't know, this sport should feel, we should be celebrating South African sport.
I mean, when you think of it,
we keep on coming here every week and we're lambasting and calling out people. James Mulo, you are a disappointment, man.
And I'm trying to phrase it, word it properly. Akani Simbine went out, got the Continental Championship,
yes,
bronze medal status championship, to come to South Africa. He positioned it in such a way that it runs a couple of days a week after the South African Nationals. Because the South African Nationals, a week thereafter, there'll be the World Relays that you're speaking about in Gebs. So he thought, let me be smart about it. Hold the Continental right here at Pilditch. That week leading up to the SN to the relays, a lot of the international athletes will be in South Africa because
yes, they're preparing for Gebs, yes.
At a Potch or Pretoria, HPC, yes. So the athletes are doing their bit. He didn't have to do that.
No.
He didn't have to think for Athletics South Africa.
Now it's an athlete doing it.
An athlete is doing it.
Look at what Caster Semenya is doing.
Sepeng himself has just had the Sepeng Continental running this week. The athletes are trying their utmost best.
Look at what Caster is doing.
Caster as well. I mean, do you know Caster is training some of the Botswanan athletes that South Africa will be racing against? Our athletes are doing it. She is actually the coach of the Botswanan
It's painful.
team.
This is painful. In fact, I even wore some socks, some special socks for administrators.
But
we're gonna jump in.
Yeah,
they've had some of the brew.
But Tagi, which brew?
I don't know which one.
But Tagi,
maybe the one that Vanya is meant to organize for us.
No, we'll deal with Vanya later.
For the show.
Vanya now will have to have a special sitting for him.
But this is what, whoever you are, Athletics South Africa.
Yeah.
I'm still coming to Mama Joy and them. You've had plenty too much of this.
Yeah, in fact, I'll be meeting with the Athletics South Africa later today.
I hope the other guys are watching as well. I hope the other guys are watching.
Yeah, no, we'll touch base on them.
Yeah, because we need them to join us.
Yeah, they were here a couple of days ago. I'm missing. There's something missing.
Yeah, there's some jerseys missing. Yeah,
and some lubrications. But
there's a lot. There's a lot. I'm sending out a message, Thabiso.
Look, you mentioned the state of mind of where Athletics South Africa. That, without a doubt, we're going to question them. Last time I spoke to the acting athletics South Africa president right now, he said to me, we must check our English. When I came to him, facts, there's a letter head from ASA saying the president suspended. Then there was another one saying, no, he's not suspended. I said, but which one should we take as media? We were told that we are drunk. So at least today.
Oh, they also said you also imbibed.
Yeah. So today I'll actually.
They said you imbibed.
For the first time, I'll actually meet him face to face and say, okay,
but are you imbibed?
Which one was I drinking? The fact of the matter is the president is now suspended.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, and people who have obviously lost their minds, and I want to dwell on this. But it is topical, so I'm going to raise it. It's probably the most ridiculous conversation that we're having in South Africa.
Yeah. When
a fan must be given, and I say a fan, in inverted commas, must be given the attention because that particular fan insists that that fan must go to a World Cup because that fan is a number one fan of South African sports. But just during the week, they were asking questions about the Bafana team. Dololo. Mama Joy. Let's be frank. Mama Joy, yes, we love you when you at the stadium.
This one is Athletics South Africa's. No, this one is Mama Joy's. We're still going to go through the other ones because I think the other ones are also imbibing. The problem, Thabiso, is that Mama Joy is entitled now. I see Minister Katie McKenzie comes out and says that trip to the Rugby World Cup in France 2023.
Close to R1 million.
Yeah, 700,000.
On a fan.
And I enjoy the fact that the minister throws his predecessor pass.
As long as
which is not me. It's not me.
When I came here, these are the books.
The books are like this. I can think of so many people, Thabiso, who pay their hard-earned cash to go support our national teams, whether at World Cups, at AFCONs, whatever it is, and our athletes around the world. People who just love this country. Who does Mama Joy think she is? To think that she is the ultimate super fan.
And she said, Minister said 50 fans. But why does she think it includes her anyway?
On top of that, Thabiso, I think even if the minister said so, the minister must check himself. It's taxpayers' money that. I would think that the minister would take that money of paying for fans and go pay federations and go give the money to federations to bring up more athletes. Swimming South Africa is in dire need of money.
And they're performing.
Hockey are in dire need of money.
And they're performing.
We can go on. The list is long, Thabiso. Cycling South Africa is in dire need of money.
Jeez, and I miss the days of MTN Dimension Data Kubega.
Yeah. Thabiso, we're in trouble. Our sporting federations are in trouble financially. Now we must be paying for people to go and have a jolly in America or in Mexico because I doubt they'll be allowed into the US. But we must pay for them to go have a jolly.
Make it to Mexico and Canada. All those tequilas.
And go support Bafana, whose chances are of getting into the group stages are 0.1%.
Well,
not that I'm putting shade on Bafana.
Yeah.
We need to be realistic.
Because as it stands, then
if you're going to watch the Springboks, you know the Springboks will get into the semis.
Because as it stands, a Mama Joy or a super fan. Let's not specifically make it about her. A super fan, you'd obviously book them for the duration of the tournament.
Yes.
So you're not going to say only group games.
And that's what happens.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Thabiso, some of these super fans.
But what is a super fan? Let me start there. What is a super fan? Is there such a thing?
Supporting is their livelihood.
Come on,
But
guys.
Thabiso, I know that some companies, some of these brands, involved in this, and we're still waiting for you guys. Hello. Are big sponsors of these trips.
Yeah.
Of fans. Let them sponsor. Let the telcos sponsor, because I know that some of the telcos do that as well. With the teams that they sponsor in football and they take the guys on preseason. Let them do that. It cannot be the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture's responsibility to do that. With taxpayers' money, that Thabiso should be going to federations who are in dire financial situations that need that towards athletes that we want to send to the Olympics to go represent us.
Because we'll be the first ones to say these athletes or federations are useless when they don't medal or don't come back with results.
But when the athletes win and medal,
we're the first ones. It's the very same minister who goes
there. It was our money. What money?
Yeah. Here's a question. I want to play devil's advocate.
And we must stop. Yeah, and Nyanse Thabiso, I think giving this topic too much airtime.
That's right. Yeah, I think we're giving it too much airtime because, frankly, for me, it's a non-starter. Yeah. But I want to play devil's advocate on the sporting front.
Yeah.
I'm an athlete. We've seen it with Mbogazi now in the MLS with Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
Those South African flags in the stand mean a lot to our athletes, whether it's approach a woman out in India at the World Cup, whether it's a Springboks at the India tour. South African support, home support, means a lot, regardless of where you are. But I think your point is, sure enough, but it shouldn't be country-sponsored. Then who should?
It shouldn't be paid for, Thabiso. They are South African. You go to any Formula 1 race, or you watch a Formula 1 race, there's a South African flag there.
That saved up for whatever how many years to make sure that they go there.
There's a good friend of mine, also a sports journalist for many years, General Emre. What General and I used to do.
I remember Emre.
Yeah, I think he's enjoying Stellis there. She-dog. You know, and Charles from Zimbabwe, at every sevens tournament, we used to look out for the Zimbabwe flag. And an oath to Buri, it's there.
Yeah.
There's a Zimbabwe flag, we spotted somewhere in there. And then when we're watching the other sevens tournaments on television, him and I would look, and once the cameras would take a picture and send it to each other. The Zimbabwe flag is across the world.
Yeah.
You go anywhere. Not paid for. Patriotism is not paid for, Thabiso. It comes from the heart. A South African flag is everywhere, Chief. You go to the World Triathlon Championships, it's there. The World Downhill Mountain Biking Championships, when Greg Minnaar was so good, even post Greg Minnaar's era, the flags are there. We can. You go to the Winter Olympics.
I was just about to say
the South African flag is there. You don't have to buy our patriotism, Thabiso.
Yeah, and the argument, and I think I'm going to be blunt with this. Minister again, I think erred in a press conference that he had a couple of weeks ago at Freedom Park in Pretoria. We actually said countries like Morocco, countries like so and so, mentioning them, bring their journalists and supporters to these events. And I think Minister erred in the sense that I don't think he thought it through. It costs no less than at least $1.5 million, on average 1.5 million rands, to take a team of about 2 to an Olympic Games for 3 weeks, a month. When I say 1.5 million rands, this is flights, accommodation, S&T, travel on the ground, accreditation itself, comms, cell phone,
everything. Yeah.
So when you sit back and you think, and this is for a team that must go work. And these people are working 20-hour, 21-hour shifts per day. So it's not like they're there on holiday. You know, when you go to these events,
everyone thinks we've gone, it's a jolly for us.
They don't realize it's probably 2 days out of the whole 4 weeks that you're there and that you're off. The day you arrive.
But then people want to read, they want to listen on radio, they want to watch on television reports and want to hear from the athletes. And they forget who brings them that.
Yeah. And the athletes are not there because they couldn't qualify because the money was spent on Mama Joy to go to the Olympics.
And it's often a team of 1 or 2 when it comes to the media.
Yeah.
You know? But also, Thabiso, yes, I would love to see a bigger South African media contingent, whether the Olympics, Rugby World Cup, Cricket World Cup, Football World Cup. And I'm not against the idea of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture doing something about it and actually helping get the media there because they need to report and send the messages back home. But I'm also, Thabiso, wary of the department then carrying the can for what the media houses are meant to be doing.
And that's probably the sticky point.
We sit at the moment with a huge problem with sports journalism dying in this country.
Yeah.
It's not dying, Thabiso, because there are no good journals out there. It's not dying, Thabiso, because the stories are not there. It's dying because media houses are not investing in sports and sports journalism. They're not. Let's be honest. Let's be brutally honest. What the media houses want is that when the Springboks win, all of a sudden they've got the content.
Yeah.
When Banyana do well, they've got the content. When we're hosting a Netball World Cup or Cricket World Cup, we've got the content. How do you get the content? You've got to invest. When a precious Sithole is coming up, you can't only tell a story when she's now at the top.
World indoor champion. Who is
Precious? Not trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
When she's now world champion.
Yeah.
Where were you when she was coming up?
Yeah. When she couldn't afford spikes.
So the minister must also be careful of wanting to commit to something that's going to come back to bite him, because it's not his job to develop the media.
Yeah.
It is the media's job to develop itself.
In fact, I'd probably go as far as saying it's not even about sports journalism, it's about journalism, period, as a profession in the country. Because look, you and I, we know, there's no varsity, tertiary that'll give you sports journalism degree. You're journalist first, then you specialize.
And then you specialize in whatever it is.
So in that instance, also speaks to then where we are in our sport as well.
Yeah.
They've been able to carry the can and develop what they want to bring to us. And it's a joint venture, isn't it?
Yeah.
We want to be able to speak to these, whether it's Athletics South Africa, whether it's DSAC, in this instance, Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, whether it's a fan. It's a symbiosis. It's an ecosystem that has to work with
and with sponsors as well.
Yeah.
We mustn't forget.
Because they play an integral role.
You and I are sitting here and we're saying, Sanani Mangisa, check the stripes. We are saying, the Dutch beverage company, the big South African brewer was taken over by the Brazilians. We want them.
They've got a huge role.
Because they've got a huge role to play with us being on air, first of all. But they've got a huge role to play in the development of South African sport. We might want to hit the betting companies and say, but now people are desperate. They bet. Their salaries are... But look at what the betting companies are doing for the development of sport in this country.
I mean, Bafana is probably a case in point. They are run by, I'm not going to mention who they are, but it's a betting company who seemingly are even running their admin, their online presence.
The Springboks.
Yeah, the Springboks as well.
They've got a betting company here. You look at women's football. Lack of a professional league. A betting company is coming to assist
actually make that betting company's name league.
And kudos to them. And they are going out of their way now to say, hey guys, here are the pitfalls of gambling. We're not saying go away because that's our lifeblood. You guys betting, but it's saying do so responsibly. So you are talking about the ecosystem, and Thabiso, you remove one, the whole thing falls apart. So we do need the fans, the super fans. Don't need to pay them though.
Yeah.
We do need DSAC taking those monies and actually putting them into federations that are worthy. Our athletes need that money. SESCOC is in dire need of the cash. We need the sponsors, right? To keep the whole thing afloat. But you also need the media, because without the media, these stories will never be told. We won't know.
Yeah, and I think there's one thing, for our viewers, when we do these, whether it's your SA Nationals or we make it a point even to speak to local, when I say local, I say SADC athletes. Because when we tell the story, we don't, our primary objective, tell the South African story, but we also tell a regional story, a SADC story.
But also an African story.
Because that is what the role that we as media should be playing.
When Caster Semenya, when the rules were put out by the IWF then, World Athletics now, who were they aimed at?
Primarily the black African athletes. Kenyan.
Wambui.
South African.
Christine Thingy. Mboko.
Yeah.
From Namibia. And Caster. And so you look at that and you say to yourself, so we have to tell the story, Thabiso. No one's going to tell it besides us. And a huge onus is on South African media because we have the resources. We have the reach. We are good when it comes to television. We are good when it comes to radio. We are good when it comes to digital.
Good when it comes to broadcasting, period.
But we've got the capabilities.
Yeah.
So we have to tell not just the African story, not just the SADC story, the African story. We have to. So in all of this, and I think you have given it too much time, but at least something good has come out of it because
all these
we're now
points are being
addressing all these
dissected,
other things. The entitlement has got to stop. The entitlement has got to stop. And again, Minister Mackenzie, you need to pay the money to the athletes. You want to take what, 300 of them to LA?
No chance. We're not going to get 300 to LA.
If you want to, forget Mama Joy.
It's too late.
Forget Mama Joy.
I mean, OPEX is too late for LA now. I'm just trying. I'm thinking.
No, but I'm just saying, Thabiso,
when he came in,
any chance now of us even getting to 200 athletes for the LA Olympics, Minister Mackenzie, put the money where it belongs. Put the money where it's in the athletes and nothing else.
Tell you who didn't feature where we thought they belonged? South Africa's franchises, out of all things European rugby. And you know, those Aussies and Kiwis are coming back and laughing.
Oh, you want to finish with the football?
Yeah, football is finished. We'll come back on the other.
Oh, you want to finish with the happy black?
Yeah, I want to come back to high later. I want to deal with the sad news. Get out the sad news.
I'm warning
how do you make of that? I mean, that was probably it's not the shock of a result. I think we saw it coming. And I think we saw it coming. The Sharks started off on high, then on a low. Then they had like a plethora of injuries. They're probably down to 0. The Stormers as well. They had a bit of a mixed bag. The line. Okay, forget the line. Okay. The Bulls for me are probably the most disappointing of the franchises. I thought at least they would have made a quarter in the Champions Rugby and Champions Cup.
Thabiso, I'm conflicted.
Yeah.
Black, I'm mourning them. I'm mourning South African franchises not going further in the Champions and Challenge Cup.
No one in the quarters.
Right?
No one in the knockouts.
I'm mourning that. But also I say, on the flip side of it, it gives an opportunity to concentrate just on the URC now. Right? It minimizes certain players playing a lot more games and risking injury prior to the start of the international season. I think Rassie has seen enough.
Nations.
And he's going to say, some of the youngsters go and impress me in the URC. Right? Because that is where your Scotland and Wales are going to be getting a lot of their players for the start of the Nations Cup. We've seen enough of England, you know?
6 days,
and the biggest concern now will be the greatest rivalry tour. So on that score, but I'm at pain, especially for the Stormers. What a close game it was against Toulon. And I'm at pain for the Bulls because another very narrow loss to Glasgow. And I would have loved to have seen those teams go on in the Champions Cup and at least get to the semi-finals. Because they would have, I think, sent out a nice message to the French teams to say to them, we're still here. South African rugby is here and it's not going anywhere.
But South African rugby is always, regardless of how good or how well we've done in the European legs of the competitions, you know, it all goes well. One could even say these are all trials for us. I mean, I view it as whether we win those, I don't really care. URC I want. Yes, regardless of who wins.
I want Champions Cup.
Yeah.
Because there's this Irish team that keeps on making noise.
But that's why it's right. But semi-final World Cup, so I don't even bother about those. So that's why, for me, I get your point.
Yeah, it's twofold.
Yeah,
that's why I would say it's twofold.
Let them play, get the legs in, get the taste of that European up and down. Because at the end of the day, we know what's good for South African rugby,
especially the youngsters. Thabiso. Yeah, especially the youngsters.
For me,
it's the youngsters missing out on playing against the French teams, all right, and the English teams in the Champions and Challenge Cup. But then I think already a lot of those youngsters have gained some experience.
Dip their toe in
in those games. But also now you look at the URC and you say to yourself, listen, man, give or take, you know, the youngsters Rassie is looking at. The experience in the URC will be enough.
Because that's
whether they'll make the box squads for the Nations Cup and obviously
look, it's a long season.
It's going to be a very long season. Yeah.
So if they raise their hands up now, as we're discussing, I think they stand a very good chance of actually being saying, as in Ozala, even if you are a standby, but we should see a couple of fresh but fresh faces within this box squad, especially knowing which most of them anyway.
So Thabiso over me? Stormers, Bulls, Lions, Sharks.
Yeah.
Just make the top 8 of the URC. Go into the playoffs. It's a lottery there. I'd love to see an All-South African final.
Yeah, it would be nice.
In the URC.
That would be nice. Down in.
And I wouldn't mind having a Bull Stormers one.
Why not? Why not the Sharks one?
Sharks.
Why? I'm just asking.
I would love to have a Bull Stormers one.
My poor Sharks, guys, we're not even given a chance to win the smallest of trophies.
Because you don't take URC seriously, one. You don't take URC seriously.
I'll tell you who's taking things seriously.
Yeah.
Another team wearing black. Making a proper charge for the championship. 2-man race.
Let's finish with them.
2-man race.
Let's mourn again in something in football.
Who are we mourning now?
CAF President Patriotism goes to Senegal, Dakar.
How come he was there?
To visit them.
Nice, after that shambles.
And these guys are calling for a probe into CAF. Thabiso, I warned you.
But didn't Patrice say he's going to investigate something?
I warned you. I warned you.
But Patrice said he's going to
investigate. I warned you. When Morocco started this thing of theirs, I warned you, Thabiso. When CAF did not act decisively on Morocco, I warned you, Thabiso.
Yeah. What is Matripa saying?
No, he's saying, come, probe. He's open to an investigation into matters of CAF. He's open to it. And I'm glad he said that. Because he's gotten governance right at CAF. CAF have never been in a situation with governance-wise solid. He doesn't interfere in anything.
But remember, I actually said this when the outcome came of the reversal of the result, and somebody said, "Yeah, but what is Mtsipa saying?" And I said, "Well, Mtsipa is not going to say anything because, as it stands, that guy is like, hey guys, me, I'm just the president. There are structures. There's everything that has been put in place. I don't interfere. Mine is just to ratify what has been decided."
But what are we doing? We're pulling. African countries are now pulling apart CAF. Revenues, all-time record high.
Yeah.
Sponsorship, viewership of WEFCON, of AFCON, of the Champions League, of the Confederations Cup. Even the schools.
COSAFA. Even COSAFA's got money all of a sudden.
And the schools. It's happening in Zimbabwe at the moment.
Yeah, there's a school's AFCON. Yeah. School's AFCON.
With millions of rands involved in that. At our peak, Thabiso, what do we do as Africans? We've got the crab mentality. Pull them down.
Yeah.
You put crabs in a bucket, look what happens.
As long as
all of them, but you pull the other one down with you. It's sad, Thabiso. Where CAF finds itself now, when they're meant to be celebrating all the gains they've made under Patrice Motsepe. All of a sudden now, we are in. It's almost like they all locked all the teams up in a brewery, and they all in fact, all of these are for them. All of these are for them.
Only one country is like only one country is doing the 0% unless everyone else.
Yeah, no, and that's why I love the fact that the breweries in this country have got 0% beverages, because our biggest problem in African football is Morocco.
Yeah. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, they've shown year in and year out.
Had CAF acted decisively on Morocco, we would not find ourselves here, where even WEFCON has had to be moved to July to after the Men's World Cup, FIFA World Cup. Whether we're going to be footballed out. I'm not going to want to watch a game of football after the World Cup.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, I think the fans...
Now you throw WEFCON a week later, and you think that fans are going to be interested. Because we need a break as well, because now the leagues are going to start.
Well, the federations even have the money. They'll still be have not even received their FIFA money for the World Cup, while those who are going to the World Cup anyway. Yeah,
Thabiso. They should have acted on Morocco. And that's why Morocco was telela manje and make a noise about winning the AFCON. And I'm glad that Abu Hakimi and them have stood up and said that they don't want the trophy.
Yeah, we've even seen the trophy being paraded at some of these Senegalese matches, World Cup matches.
So that is my black. I'm on for African football.
Let's be happy now. We're running out of time.
The black happiness.
Yeah, let's be happy.
Well done, Chief.
Well done to Pirates, not Chief. Not me.
No, I'm saying well done, Chief.
Vata is alluding to the fact
Are you Chiefs?
You said, well done, Chief.
Yeah, Chief.
Yeah, so I'm
no, because you speak about them and what they've done,
making
and
it easy for Sundowns. Let's be frank. Okay, not frank. Frank reminds me.
Thabiso, I've said to you, South African football is at its strongest. Chiefs, Kaizer Chiefs,
third place.
Orlando Pirates,
second place.
Mamelodi Sundowns,
first place in the standings right now,
are chasing each other to the wire for the league.
Okay, maybe not Chiefs. They're a bit far off.
No, I'm saying we are at our strongest.
Fair enough.
Forget what your heart says, what my heart says, and what anyone's heart says. The truth of the matter is that South African football is at its strongest.
Mm-hmm.
Thabiso, I've never seen stadiums this full. In a very,
it's almost throughout the year.
Yeah. You need to go back to when we were growing up.
Yeah. About Mainstay Cup back in the days. About Rothman's Cup.
Sundowns games are full. Against Durban City.
57 have multiplied.
Yeah, 57 have multiplied into thousands now. Against Durban City. Full. Was it Princess Makoko?
Yeah.
Full, Chief. I even saw Ngobeni branch. Ngobeni is a little village outside of Mthatha.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
and Mthatha branch. In Durban, Chief. During the week.
It's a beautiful thing.
Then you saw the arena. Packed to capacity, Bafo.
And they got 5, and they did 5-star performance. They delivered. 5-star performance.
Was such passion,
1, 2, 3,
was such passion,
4. In fact, I was meeting some of the guys when I came in. I'm like, what's going on? Last week they were going. It's about the number of goals this black and white team score.
I've never seen you smile like this.
I have to. There's nothing wrong, as you are saying.
I've never seen you smile like this.
It's a good showing of South African football. I can nearly say it. Can't say it. Bottom line. Lalel. We're running out of time.
No, 5 of the best. Really Mufukeng. Wow.
Star in the making. Oh, in fact, star.
No star.
Yeah, not in the making, star.
No star.
I still want him to
no star.
His club has got a star, though.
No, but no star.
His club
There's another club that's going to get a star.
They wish to... Look, I want them to get a second star.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not. Sundowns must get a second star for the sake of South African.
Thabiso, I'm just glad.
Yeah.
We are being treated to a spectacle. As we go, it's going to go down to the wire. If Sundowns stumble, if they draw a game,
then it's a 1 point race.
Then they're all the same points.
No, Sundowns is 2 points ahead of Pirates.
2 points ahead.
Yeah.
So
depending on the other result, then because 1 point race.
I would love a scenario whereby at some point Sundowns, something must happen where they end up on the same amount of points again.
Yeah.
But now Pirates with these Chisampamas of theirs.
I was just want to say it's a problem. I thought you were going to say something about the chairman.
Which one?
Because back in the days, there was
no.
Back in the days when we thought Pirates always played against one team at the end of the season.
Listen,
to make sure
Thabiso, there is the way Pirates are playing.
Then fine.
Under what do? And let's give him.
In Kumbuza, Pirates ya papi.
Yeah. Happy people.
No. We are still happy.
Happy people.
But Agnes catch. Because I must go to the athletics thing. We have to also end probably this one off on a high note, because by the next time we come back to Beyond Game Day, we would have had a result from the Masters currently kicking off.
There's that.
And there's that. And the nice thing about it comes in the back of Live South Africa, and 10 of the Live players that were here are teeing off at the Masters.
Yeah.
That's a nice one. It's going to be a big one for South Africa. I mean, I say South Africa, we're going to be following
Bryson is hungry to prove a point.
Yeah.
And he's in good form.
Yes.
Having won.
They had a knockabout. I think his caddy was, who's the short comedian? The Black American comedian.
Yeah. Is it Chris something?
Chris Hart. Or something like that. Yeah, I think his caddy was, they were playing a 3-ball a couple of days ago. Was it 3-ball? What's it called? That's 3 whatever. I
don't like the thought of the Masters.
But I
know the history of the Masters.
Yeah.
Let me just say that.
No, fair enough. I don't think we're... For me,
I don't entertain all
the importance of it.
But it's a competition itself. It's a event itself.
Yeah.
It's the first major of the year.
It's the one every golfer wants in the
John
world.
Rahm and Bryson Tishambo are in good form.
Probably the front runners for that green jacket.
And I want to see how a Rory McIlroy, who's so much against live golf.
Do you think he's going to catch smack?
As a defending champion comes in now.
Do you think the live golfers are going to catch a lot of smack from the crowds?
I don't think so. I think the world loves John Rahm. The world loves a Bryson.
And they're playing at home. They're Americans, so I don't think the Americans.
Well, besides John, but obviously there's the whole Spanish connection, and the Serv, and and so it's always going to be there. Let's be honest, the Masters are a special major.
I saw Gary also tweeting about Charles. I think he's starting his 17th. It will be 17th starts the Masters.
Yeah, and it's the 90th Masters. The only downer is that we are not going to have Tiger Woods.
But Tiger Gimbombo. Show the song.
Tiger's been mooring all of this. Tiger's been mooring all of this.
As in, Tiger is such a disappointment. You want him to go to the Masters. Then they said his blood level said 0. But Tiger was probably doing some lines of something. I don't know. He reminds me of a Kakis or a... But anyway,
no. But and then he says, no, I was speaking to Donald Trump.
Hey, Tiger, no, man. Now, but Donald is busy throwing bombs at Iran when you're busy there. Hey, I'm being arrested here. Tiger, man.
It won't be the same with that Tiger. Yeah. He brings something to the Masters.
And undoubtedly the best golfer of our generation.
Yeah.
Not going to be there, though.
But I'm crossing fingers for Casey Jarvis, our South African boy, and the Masters ticket by winning the SA Open. We've got Eldon Porchita and Schwartzel. But I think Bryson and John Rahm.
In short,
and I hope they sort out that Irishman.
I just want to go. In short, as long as a live golfer wins it, we're fine.
Yeah, I think you and I have been transformed into live. We're the biggest ambassadors for live.
I don't care what they say anymore. As long as a live golfer wins it,
we're the biggest ambassadors for live golf. You and I.
One of the 10 must win it. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, because we've tasted. It's a nice thing, that one.
Guys, I don't care who says what. Golf is a nice sport if you're going to be sitting at home, having a braai, no disturbance. It's Sunday. It's, the
Tiger's drinks.
Yeah, Tiger's milk, as it were.
Yeah, Tiger's milk.
You got. There's a special breed for golf.
Yeah.
But then there's a special thing that Liv has brought in that has actually made it a Sunday every day. And that is what I think.
The thousands of Mama Joys.
Yeah, no.
The thousands. No, the super fans.
Super fans. Okay.
You want to see a super fan?
Yeah.
Next year, at Stay Seat,
you'll see.
Be there for Live Golf.
Hundreds of thousands.
You want to see a super fan? A super fan?
Yeah.
The ones who are following Charles Schwartzel, Louis Oosthuizen, Burmy, and Brendan Grace. Those are super fans. Those are super fans, Thabiso.
Yeah.
And they paid their hard-earned money.
Yeah. I think point a moment to end Beyond Game Day for this week. Thank you very much indeed, Vata. Also, once again, always a pleasure helping you. And it's a pity no one can embalm on those. We're still in the office. But I am off to Athletics South Africa to go check out. There's a team leaving for the World Marathons. That's going to be part of our conversation next week, isn't it? Because we have to dissect, as Vata was saying, administratively, where do we go wrong? How do we fix matters in South African sports? But we'll unpack that hopefully on game day on Saturday morning. And then beyond game day, we unpack what we got from there. So do stay tuned for the next edition. Bye-bye for now.